All right, everybody. So the second segment of Amber Heard's Today Show interview came on today. This one was longer than the one yesterday. And I have that on my channel if you want to check that out. But I wanted to give you my reaction to this. So I've only seen the interview once all the way through. So I'm going to watch it again now and really give you my response to this. I thought it was laughable and ridiculous when I listened to it earlier, but anyway, we'll see how it strikes me the second time around.
This half hour, though, Savannah, with your exclusive interview with Amber Heard.
Yeah, that's right. This is Amber Heard's first interview since that high-profile defamation trial and its stunning verdict largely in favor of her ex-husband, Johnny Depp. We spoke about what happened in that courtroom and how she feels about all of it now.
It's been about more than a week since the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? It's surreal. And
frankly, I hate those questions. I never know what that question means when they ask someone, has it sunk in? I mean, what does that mean exactly? Have you processed the fact that you have lost? And what's she, and of course, what does she say to that? Is she going to say, yeah, of course I was expecting to lose because I'm a fucking liar? No, she's going to sigh and think about it. And, it's not the result I wanted.
difficult, in part, yes. This has been a long time coming.
Do you stand by?
Yes, it has been a long time coming. We both agree on that, Amber. You and I agree with each other perfectly on that. A long time coming and a completely unnecessary series of forced errors on her part. I will never stop being amazed at the fact that this woman could have gotten away from Johnny Depp. She could have gotten her divorce with $7 million and with her reputation intact. And Johnny Depp would have spoken well of her, I'm sure, in Hollywood and would have treated her well. But no, she couldn't do that. She had to try to take him down, and she created this multi-year media storm. So yeah, it has been a long time coming that we finally get a bit of justice and truth for Johnny Depp's side.
Testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse.
Of course, to my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
The real-life drama.
As God is my witness, I will never be hungry again. No. Till my dying day, I will stand behind my lies. Every one of them, every lie, I will stand behind.
Of the defamation case between Amber Heard and her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, captivated millions of people around the world.
Amber Heard just got exposed.
Johnny, you hit me.
All right, so they have to set it up, this interview segment, they have to set it up by showing how just awful and misogynist and sensationalistic the TikTok and YouTube videos have been. So we're getting an assortment of some of that.
This is so cringe.
With clips spreading across social media like wildfire.
I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial,
which is so unusual because we know that nothing ever gets played out on social media, right? So the fact that this trial got so much social media coverage, it must mean that it was misogyny, right? Of course.
is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok. And the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror.
I'll tell you what the jury saw. They saw a lying woman who could not produce tears even though she was convulsing for hours. That's what they saw.
It would have been impossible to avoid this.
People online and crowds outside the courthouse made it clear where they stood.
Every single day I passed for 3, 4, sometimes 6 blocks, city blocks lined with people holding signs.
From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white with foam.
Burn the witch, death to Amber. After 3.5 weeks,
Okay, I'm going to have to plead ignorance on this because I did not see the signs that she's talking about. So were there signs that people were holding that said death to Amber? Like, I'm just always, maybe so, okay, there's always some weirdos that are going to show up at these trials and extremists. But I am very skeptical of the people on Amber's side, and this goes for you too, Michelle Dauber, Stanford crazy professor. This goes for you too. I'm very skeptical of Amber Heard and Amber Heard stans who claim that they get death threats and stuff. Do you know why I'm skeptical? Because I've been talking about this and other more controversial issues for over a year now, and I've never gotten a death threat. I get some tacky comments occasionally about some things, but I just don't believe. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying, like, I think that these people are exaggerating.
The stand and saw just a courtroom packed full of Captain Jack Sparrow fans who were vocal, energized.
Can you put into words?
I'm sorry, when she says that, you know what I imagine? I imagine a courtroom with like all of these pirates, like crazy like pirates sitting out there, like everybody in like Jack Sparrow cosplay. That's what I imagine.
How that felt.
This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt more removed from my own humanity. I felt less than human.
Let's go back to the day of the verdict.
Well, I just want to say, like, feeling less than human is probably normal for someone with various cluster B personality disorders. I think that is kind of one of the points that Dr. Curry was trying to make, is that these people do not have typical brains or typical ways of being. So you may be feeling inhuman just because of that, Amber. I don't know that it's this trial that's done that to you.
Confident.
That's a great question. I wish I could say yes to that.
Okay, I cut out the question there, and I sorry about that. But what she asked her was, did you feel confident going into the verdict? And Amber pauses and she says, I wish I could tell you yes, right? What's being insinuated here is that she wants us to know that she didn't have confidence that this jury could deliver a fair verdict because it was a bunch of, Jack Sparrow cosplayers and sycophants and everything, right? So no, I hate to tell you, Savannah, I hate to tell you, but I didn't feel confident. I knew the jury was stacked against me because they were so in love with Edward Scissorhands,
I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true.
It wouldn't be true.
Even if you think that I'm lying, you still couldn't look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
After the 6-week trial, the jury found Heard defamed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name. Depp denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife beater.
There was another trial, dealt with the same substantive issues that had even more evidence in. In fact, my evidence was largely kept out.
All right, I'm not going to get into the UK verdict. That's something that I can talk about later. Others have talked about it. It was a very, very different trial, and a couple of things. One reason why Johnny Depp got a negative verdict in the UK trial is because he was suing a tabloid for libel. So he had to basically prove that not only was that tabloid lying, but that they knew they were lying, right? And then also, there was not nearly as much evidence presented for Johnny Depp's side. Like, there was a lot of stuff between the UK trial and this recent trial, that was discovered, was entered into evidence and made a part of the case. All right. Okay.
Really important pieces of evidence kept out, done differently, handled differently by a judge instead of a jury.
Some evidence is admissible in a UK court that is not admissible in a US court. Do you think that maybe he just had better lawyers?
I will say his lawyers did certainly a better job of distracting the jury from the real issues. For some,
I really hate the way that that Amber Heard keeps presenting this as oh, I have all this other evidence, that wasn't allowed in. Look, I have been covering this, and so have other people. I've been covering this story for over a year. I have delved deep into it. Let me just tell you, if you don't know, there's no treasure trove of evidence, of unadmitted evidence. Okay, Amber, she didn't have anything really.
Well, they just were frankly disgusted by the whole thing and don't have much sympathy for either one of you. Can you understand that?
Absolutely. I would not blame the average person for looking at this and how it's been covered and not think that it is Hollywood brats at their worst. But what people don't understand is it's actually so much bigger than that. This is not only about our First Amendment right to speak.
But here's the thing about the First Amendment. The First Amendment protects free speech. It doesn't protect lies that amount to defamation.
Good,
and that was
Savannah.
the issue
Good.
in the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, exactly. You can't go into the free speech does not protect you if you go into a crowded theater and you scream.
Yeah, we all
fire.
know that. We all know
We
that.
get the concept of free speech from the Greeks. My understanding of what that means is not just the freedom to speak. It's the freedom to.
We get that concept from the Greeks. I mean, what I'm laughing at here is they cut her off right after the Greeks comment, but she was clearly here about to go into, no doubt, some long-winded, smart-sounding, but stupid dribble about, ancient Greece and where we get our ideas about free speech and democracy and, whatever. Give me a break, Amber. I love that they cut her off there. So it's this awkward thing where she's just like, we get our ideas on this from the Greeks. Cut.
Truth to power.
The truth is the word.
Yes.
And that was the
Oh.
issue.
And that's all I spoke. And I spoke it to power, and I paid the price.
Oh my God.
In the
Please.
closing arguments, the Depp lawyer
Please.
called your testimony the performance of a lifetime and said you were acting.
I will say I disagree with Johnny Depp's attorneys there. It was not the performance of a lifetime. It was a shitty performance. The woman convulsed for hours and couldn't produce tears. So no.
What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer
Says,
for the
says
man
him.
who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers.
What?
I'm the performer.
Wait, I have to watch that again. Just a
Listen
second.
to we man who convinced the world he had.
And said you were acting. What do you say to that?
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he had scissors for fingers. I'm the performer.
Says the lawyer for the man who convinced the world he has scissors for fingers. So she's saying there that this is a lie that Johnny's lawyers were telling. But what is the relationship between Johnny's lawyers and the fact that they have an actor, like a client, who was Edward Scissorhands? I don't really understand the connection. I guess what she's trying to say here is everybody from the lawyer to Johnny Depp, they were all putting on a good show for you, right? Well, Amber Heard, you're an actress too, or you're supposed to be. Come on.
I had listened to weeks of testimony insinuating that, or saying quite directly that, I'm a terrible actress.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm a bit confused how I could be both.
The Depp team argued that you were the abuser, that you instigated physical violence. Did you?
I never had to instigate it. I responded to it. When you're living in violence and it becomes normal, as I testified to.
I just want to remind everybody, if you're not aware, if you haven't listened to the audio of Amber Heard and Johnny, fighting, whatever, Amber defines violence as Johnny Depp running away from her. And she literally says that multiple times on the audio. And at one point, she's even like, Johnny, stop hitting me. Stop pushing me up against a wall. Stop doing this. And Johnny's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching you. And she's like, no, but when you run away, when you won't fight, it's like I'm being pushed up against a wall, right? So she defines Johnny Depp running away. She defines passivity as and passivism as violence. So when she says to us that, yeah, of course I had to hit Johnny Depp, I had to react, it's reactive violence. She's reacting to the violence of him refusing to be violent with her. Try to wrap your head around that one, right?
You have to adapt.
You say you were responding, but there is evidence. There are tapes in which you acknowledge hitting. There are tapes in which you
Savannah.
say,
Good.
I started the fight.
I know much has been made of these audio tapes. They were first leaked online after being edited. What you would hear in those clips are not evidence of what was happening. It was evidence of a negotiation.
I knew she was going to do this too. The way that she and her side love to explain away those very incriminating audio tapes is to say, well, Johnny's side edited them. If you would listen to the full 2 hours, then you'll see. Well, let me tell you, everybody in the audience, I have listened. I've put myself through the full 2 hours of that tape. And then there was another tape, it was, another 2 hours or whatever. I've listened to all audio that has been made available. I've listened to all of it in its entirety. All right. And I can tell you that not only is the fuller audio just as incriminating toward Amber Heard as the edited stuff was, I think it's actually, on the whole, actually even makes her look worse. So I don't know what she's talking about. She's just hoping, once again, that people don't know their shit and that people are as uninformed as the mainstream media. But we're not, Amber. We're not.
Talk about that with your abuser.
But I am looking at a transcript that he says, you start physical fights, and you say, I did start a physical fight. I can't promise you I won't get physical again. I mean, this is in black and white. I understand
Good,
context.
Savannah, good. Hold her
But
to
you're
it.
testifying, and you're just telling me today, I never started a physical fight, and here you are on tape saying you did.
Yes.
As I testified on the stand about this, is that when your life is at risk, not only will you take the blame for things that you shouldn't take the blame for, but when you're in an abusive dynamic, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, you don't have the resources that, say, you or I do with the luxury of saying,
What?
hey, this is black and white, because it's anything.
Wait a minute. Wait, okay. She just said that the reason why she had to say all that incriminating shit on the tapes is because she was in an abusive relationship and she didn't have the resources, I guess, to know how to deal with that. But then she says, I didn't have the resources that you or I have. Wait, so you're saying you do have resources? Okay, so I didn't have the resources that I had. Is that... Does she confuse herself with this, or does it all somehow make sense in her mind and it's just like when it comes out then it's all scrambled? I don't know. I'd love to know.
But when you're living in it.
But then there are other times, there's another tape where you're taunting him and saying, oh, tell the world, Johnny Depp, I, a man, am a victim of domestic violence.
20-second clips or the transcripts of them are not representative of even the 2 hours or the 3 hours that those
they're
clips
worse.
are excerpt from.
It's worse.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
Yeah, because the whole 3 hours actually makes her look worse.
A lawyer, as I testified
Wait,
to,
wait,
I was
wait.
talking 2 hours or the 3 hours that those clips are excerpt from.
Could your side have just put the whole 3 hours in then?
I'm not a lawyer. As I testified to, I was talking in those recordings as
I'm not a lawyer.
an extreme amount of emotional, psychological, and physical distress.
He
And
says
it
he
doesn't-
never hit you.
He can't-
Never. Is
yeah.
that a lie?
Yes, it is.
What about the witnesses who said they have seen you instigate physical violence?
I've seen firsthand how people will file rank and support the person they depend on.
Did they all come in and lie in court?
I am not here to
Everybody's
call
lying.
any of his witnesses any names. I'm here to.
Of course you are. You're
just
saying
kind
they're
of
lying.
Talk about it from.
You're saying that they're
what it felt
falling in
like for me
line
as
and
a
rank
person
behind
who
Johnny Depp because they're
sat there.
so.
When I asked his lawyers, why do you think you won? And the answer I got was,
I'm not here to call anybody a liar. I'm just here to say that these people didn't tell the truth and they all got in line rank and file behind Johnny Depp because they want something from him or they think he's so wonderful. They're so in love with Captain Jack Sparrow and Edward Scissorhands.
because she never took responsibility for anything
Yeah, she doesn't.
did in the marriage.
I did do and say horrible, regrettable things.
I'm actually going to leave it right there. I think we'll just leave this interview. It's actually almost over, but I'm going to leave it on this note where she says, yes, I did do terrible things because I don't want to hear the part where then she blames Johnny Depp for it. So we're just going to stop right here. But that was it, folks. That was the interview that came out today. There'll be apparently more of this bullshit tomorrow. And then we're going to get like a big, huge heap of bullshit on Friday when they release the whole thing. We're talking about like Jurassic Park style, you know, that scene where she's digging around in the huge mound of dinosaur shit. That's what we're going to get on Friday with Amber Heard's dump of an interview. So, everybody, yeah, like, subscribe to my channel, check out my other videos. You will like them. Please check out, if you haven't already, the interview with Marilyn Manson's former assistant that I'm trying to push up to 1 million views. YouTube demonetized it, and when they demonetized it, they also killed the algorithm. So it's like sitting up there like almost at 1 million. And if you haven't already, if you wouldn't mind getting me over the hump with that, clicking on the link that I provided in the comments, in the description, and on the end screen that's coming up. All right, would love that. Okay, everybody, yeah, subscribe to my channel, check me out, check out my videos later, and yeah, bye-bye.